So this is an untold story as we begin the news at 5:30, a story that is now turning into a massive problem. We see headlines every day about concerns over illegal immigration on the U.S.-Mexican border. Some communities, though, in our area are dealing with a legal immigration crisis. Let me explain. Tens of thousands of doctors in your country, perhaps your doctor is one of them, are on the edge of closing up shop. Why? Well, they're from India, and they've been stuck in a decades-long battle for permanent status. And as Janice Park tells us, the U.S. is at risk of losing thousands of family doctors.
Doctors have a way of just passing through Cambridge.
In this tiny white clinic with blue shutters on Maryland's eastern shore,
How are you today?
Dr. Jivan Arabaloo treats Gina Marzul.
Any pain?
One day soon, Gina or some of the thousands of other patients that depend on him will show up, and he may not be there. Patients in this rural community say that quality doctors are scarce, and if Dr. J leaves, they will be the ones who suffer.
I just never forget the first time I walked in that man's office. I did what I'm doing now. I just busted out crying. And he stood there and listened. And he told me, "Don't cry, I'll help you." And he did.
Dr. J is a doctor who immigrated to the U.S. from India 15 years ago, and he is one of thousands of doctors who are anxiously waiting for a green card.
There should be a separate category for physicians and a different pathway. There has to be. It's a tragedy. It's an American tragedy.
And here's the big problem. Doctors like Dr. J fall into the EB2 category, and that's Indians with advanced degrees. So they joined 200,000 other Indian immigrants, all waiting in line.
Last year, USCIS approved just under 3,000 green cards. This leaves 213,000 immigrants without green cards. The wait continues, and the line only gets longer every year.
If you do the math and you look at how long the wait list is, you can clearly see the number of years is 40 years to 70 years, 150 years, God knows.
We met with a group of Maryland doctors who are asking that we not share what hospitals they work for. They are all taking a risk by talking to us, by upsetting their current employers. But they now believe the risk of staying silent poses a greater danger.
It is a nightmare to believe that it may be happening.
It's unbelievable. It's hard to fathom. It's insane because it doesn't make any sense, because the whole criteria is based on which country you were born in.
Because of their uncertain status, Indian doctors can't vote, can only get high-interest loans, and oftentimes can't get promotions or utilize cutting-edge technologies because of their work visa restrictions. David Beer with the Cato Institute says these quotas were established in 1990, and the law hasn't changed since, despite the economy doubling in size. While no one can exactly predict where a doctor fits in line, he believes those who got in line starting in 2016 will be waiting a lifetime.
Do you think that this no longer is the American dream because you can't obtain that permanent status anymore?
You can say that.
We contacted USCIS, the government agency responsible for determining eligibility for the highly coveted ticket to permanent status. We sent them their own numbers from a Cato Institute study, asking if indeed the backlog for Indian doctors could be as long as 150 years. While they refused an on-camera interview, Michael Bars, a USCIS spokesperson, sent us this statement saying there is no backlog. The truth is that these arithmetic tricks and fabrications are grossly inaccurate.
That has nothing to do with it. This is an issue of the law, and it's up to Congress to make changes that would prevent these wait times from escalating.
But there is some hope. Just a few weeks ago, both the House and Senate introduced a bill, Conrad 30, that would create a pathway to permanent residency for doctors who serve in rural communities desperate for health care. Congressman Brad Schneider, who is a co-sponsor of the bill, says Americans can't afford to lose these doctors.
In particular in rural communities, there are people who talk about having to drive 100, 150 miles to visit a primary care physician.
Congressman Schneider hopes that Conrad 30 will pass by the end of the year. In the meantime, Dr. J stays committed to his patients in Cambridge.
Just like how to tell my kids, don't think that somebody else got the prize just because they didn't put good effort. I want to act as an example of grace and ask for justice the right way.
In Cambridge, Janice Park, WUSA 9.